Afternoon everybody. The Duo Normand time trial event in Normandy in northern France, taking place at the end of September. What's it like? Should you go? Should you enter? Should you take part? Is it fun? Stick around and you'll find out. Good afternoon everybody. We've arrived at La Roque in Saint-Jean-de-Savigny, a little village in Normandy, ready for our Duo Normand weekend. Here are the cars, the Old Ports racing team with the bikes on the roof, ready and raring to go. Beautiful time bike there. Not mine, actually, mine is the one behind, the Boardman Air 9.8. The time belongs to Neil, a fellow who's joined us from Westerham Cyclery. Welcome on board, Neil. And here's Ian Hawthorne's car with another 4 bikes on the roof. Ian's new BMC. Beautiful looking bike, beautiful colour. And this is La Roque, a converted barn. Beautiful house, sleeps 10 and up to 12 people. 8 of us staying in it this weekend.
Out in sleep.
That's why I've managed upstairs.
All is good. I need to piss around and find it.
Kegs of beer and...
You have to say that was the eastern front of catering, wasn't it? It was kind of trapped in a farmhouse and you and 19-year-old mate on a stag weekend.
Leaving her.
Cat homicide.
Until it said what her name was.
Oh, pretty nice first.
No, Ricky ride first.
And sign on. Why have you got a little hamster on your...
Do we have to go through that again?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
I thought the other morning quite interesting. Listen to this, when Tommy's about 20, early 20s, he'd be burning the candle at both ends.
Well, that's the end of the live video, I'm afraid. The rest of the video you're going to have to put up with me sitting here and talking direct to you. And the reason for that is the weather in Normandy this year was atrocious. But first of all, what is the Duo Normand? The Duo Normand is a 2-up time trial, 2-up meaning that there are 2 riders. It takes place in Marigny in Normandy in northern France, round about this September weekend each year, in other words about the 3rd weekend in September. And it is, I believe, the only UCI event where amateurs and professionals compete on the same course. And you get a lot of professional riders taking part, and often some quite famous names, because being a UCI event, there are points available. So in the past, Bradley Wiggins has ridden it, Alex Dowsett has ridden it, Chris Boardman and Jens Vogt held the record for a number of years. Last few years we've been going, not quite so many of the top mains attending. Not quite sure the reason for that, perhaps because it clashes with the World Championships, although it's always done so. But anyway, you get riders from all over the place, a lot of French riders obviously, a lot of British riders, although not as many as this year as there have been in the past. A lot of people coming over from Belgium, quite a lot of people from Jersey and Guernsey. And it takes place, as I say, in Marigny. The course has been changed for 2018. And why has it been changed? Well, for a very poignant reason. The Old Portlians Cycling Club has been attending the Duo Normand event for a number of years. And in 2016, one of our longest standing members, a very popular rider, very well-known time trialist, the name of Ian Bashford, was tragically killed while competing in the event. I won't go into the details now, but it was a very sad incident, and every time we go back to the Duo Normand now, we ride in memory of our good friend Ian Bashford. So the course was changed as a result of Ian's accident. It was 54 kilometres, it's now slightly shorter, about 51 kilometres, but there's quite a lot of climbing involved, so it's a long course. And there are different groups. There are elite riders, there are third category riders, there are first category riders, there are mixed teams, there are tandem teams, there are recumbent teams, there are hand cyclists, there are veterans, there are juniors, there are corporate riders. And they start off at about 8:30 in the morning and they go off at 1 minute intervals, and generally the last pair is off at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you can imagine it's a very busy event. The Old Portlians go every year. Generally there's about 4, 5, sometimes 6 teams. This year there were 4 teams. Myself and David Hickman, Andy Green and Ian Hawthorne, Kevin Wolfe and Rowan Foggett, and David Mercer and Neil from the Western Cycle Club. Sorry Neil, I forgot your surname there. I'll put it up on the screen when I've worked it out. Anyway, the day of the event, which was Sunday the 23rd of September, the weather was absolutely atrocious. I have never got so wet while riding before. And being a 2-up event, of course, you need to ride close to your partner, or your partner needs to ride close behind you. And being wet roads, of course, and not having mud guards, because we're all serious racers, the spray comes up and it absolutely soaks you. So, as I said, never been so wet, but we had endless fun. Always going to be a poignant event because of what happened to Ian Bashford. But I think it's important that the Old Portlians go back, they support the event, and they ride it in memory of Ian, as we do each year. And Ian Bashford was the kind of rider who would go out in all sorts of conditions. So for us not to ride in atrocious conditions would not be doing justice to Ian's memory. So hope you're watching, Ian, and we did you proud. Anyway, we go out and we stay at a farmhouse in this little village called Saint-Jean-de-Savigny, which is about 12 miles away from Marigny. We go out on a Friday, we come back on the Monday, we get the ferry from Portsmouth to Caen, takes about 6 hours. So if you're interested in going, there are plenty of places to stay. We found it on Airbnb and we go back to the same place every year because we love it and the people are so nice and friendly. But the Duo Normand event, all the people from the town and the local towns come out and support it. Again, not so many this time because of the bad weather, but generally the town square is full of people. There are plenty of people standing at the sides of the roads. People have picnics, they have barbecues, and they cheer the riders as they're going along. Not so many, as I say, this year because of the weather, but, well, you can't legislate for the weather, can you? So it's a wonderful event. It takes us about, well, obviously it depends on how quick you are. The pros, and I think the fastest team this year did it in about 1 hour and 3 minutes. Of our teams, myself and Dave Hickman were slightly slower than the others. We did it in 1:42. David and Neil did it in 1:38. Ian and Andy did it in 1:32. And Kevin and Rowan did it in 1:28. So great times, guys, particularly considering the weather. So it's a fabulous event. You don't have to be a time trialist. You don't have to ride it on a TT bike. In some respects, because it's a long course, it's quite a hilly course, it can be quite windy. There are some advantages on riding it on a road bike. So if you've only got a road bike and you haven't got a TT bike, don't worry. If you're not used to doing time trials, well, and I'm not used to doing time trials, but 32, 33 miles is a tough ride and you're doing it at top effort. But again, don't worry if you're not experienced. It's a fabulous event. It's a great weekend. We go for the crack as well as for the event. We drink quite a lot. And we have some fabulous food prepared by a lady called Madame Hervier, who comes into the house and prepares the food and serves it for us. But obviously you can go to hotels, you can go to restaurants, you can go to Airbnb places. So if you're thinking of doing it next year, it's called the Duo Normand. It takes place generally on the 3rd weekend in September. It's a fabulous event. Support it, support the local people, and ride it as we did in memory of our good mate Ian Bashford. See you next time.